It seems the African time as usual. You're not going to wait for very many people. So far, I see we are 23. As I said, Opportunities Africa, our aim is to bridge the gap between young people and the multitude of opportunities in the world. There are very many opportunities. Most of us are not taking, not using, and actually are doing very good stuff out there in the world. Today, we have three speakers. We have Kenneth Twesje from Tech Buzz Hub. We have the recent winner, Winnie Ayero, the CEO and founder of Great First Impression. This one won seed capital from Romeo last year. She's one of the winners. Most of our speakers, actually all of them, are winners of the seed capital from Tony Romero. And lastly, we shall have Bibi Rukwenje, the CEO of Boundless Minds. He has also just won some money from High Innovation. If you heard of that one recently. Our mission is to empower the young generation, especially upcoming entrepreneurs, with the skills and resources they need to achieve their social and financial goals. So without any further ado, I'm going to invite our very first speaker, and that is Kenneth Twesje, the CEO of Tech Buzz. Let's listen in. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Segdinya, John. My name is Kenneth Twesje. I hope you can see my face, just to attach, a face to the name. My name again is Kenneth Twesje. I am the founder of Tech Buzz Hub, and briefly, Tech Buzz Hub is an innovation hub, which is going to be Uganda's most affordable incubator, I should say. So we are creating Uganda's affordable incubator. So we incubate ideas and startups. And today I will be indeed discussing the topic, writing a compelling application for seed capital from scratch. Yeah, but before I jump into that, maybe you might be wondering, where do I get this confidence of taking you through such a topic? Again, like I told you, my name is Kenneth. I am the team leader at Tech Buzz. Tech Buzz, I'm actually in charge of relationship building. I'm in charge of governance. I'm in charge of strategy development and customer, engagement. As a CEO, that is often the job you're meant to do. And sometimes you have a role to teach and educate anyone you come across, especially if you're in such an industry. You must be a master of the industry. And that is why today I believe I have been given this role to take you through writing such an important document, or important documents. I will call them documents because you realize that before you reach a proposal, you must have done the other things right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will take you through right away from that point. And allow me to share my screen. Let me share my screen quickly. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Winnie, for confirming.
Yes, please. We are able to see it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So this is, as you're aware, today's conversation is about writing a compelling application for seed capital from scratch. It is important to understand that this application oftentimes is what people call a proposal. And before you reach a proposal, there are certain things you must get right And that is what I am going to first take you through quickly. And one of them is understanding how to write a concept. Or do you even have a concept? Do you even have a business yet? So if you are one of these people that might be running a business, but for some reason you started a shop, but because you saw someone else run a shop, it means you did not take the right process in starting your business. If you're into any other business and it is as a result of copy and paste, I think this session should be a blessing to you. When you're writing a business concept, or when you're coming up with a business concept, these are three things that you might need to pay attention to. Number one is a concept needs to be creative and innovative. We know that almost every business that appears in the world has been done somewhere else in one way or another. But that doesn't mean that every way of implementing or building that business has been explored. And that is why we then say, you do not have to copy and paste. You have to think creatively on how your model will differ from other people's model, either in terms of market or distribution of the products, or in terms of service delivery, or in terms of what? Product development. I don't know, whatever it is, you need to think. One of the first things to have in mind is how creative and innovative is your solution. Second is a concept can be born anywhere. I have had ideas come to me from while I am in a taxi, going home or coming to work. Of course, that was a couple of years ago, I should say. But an idea can come from anywhere. You could be sleeping and you think about that interesting concept. I advise, as soon as you feel it in that night, wake up and write it, because in the morning you have a totally blurry or even not even remembering at all. Yeah, and lastly is it should, the moment you get that concept, that idea, it should be mirrored on what we call a canvas. So what is a canvas? Some people understand a canvas in different ways, but I put this picture on the side so that you understand what we mean by a canvas. Just put some papers maybe on the wall, or draw out, some people call it a business model canvas. Others call it just a canvas. So oftentimes it demonstrates how you're going to distribute your product, the resources you need, the cost, and maybe the revenue structure, the marketing, So if you sit down and explore how that idea is going to make the money, is going to relate to a customer, then you can eventually feel like, yes, this is an interesting concept. Or otherwise, it's I will be wasting my time. So, but if you don't do that, if you just have that idea so-called, okay, I have an idea of distributing products to people in Chikubo, and you stop there. Trust me, whatever it is, that concept might never work for some reason, because you have not taken time to develop the concept. You have not taken time to think through on the general process on how you will create value, deliver value, and certainly manage resources at some point. Yeah. Secondly is what we call a concept note. So after you have got your concept, you've maybe put it on a canvas somewhere, you've mirrored on how it generates and creates and delivers value on that canvas. The next thing is writing a concept note down. So a concept note looks at three major important things. Number one is the past. And in the past, we are talking about things to do with background review, who has done this, So some bit of research around that. Who has done this business? How are they not doing it the best way? Etc. etc. And how you think you're going to then do it better. Next, we go to what we call introduction. So in the introduction, you are now talking more about your solution, how the solution is going to disrupt maybe the industry or the market. And of course, when I talk about the introduction and I end there, you feel like maybe you just write one paragraph. No, some introductions can be pages and pages, but I advise if you're writing a concept note, certainly each of these should be one, at most 2 pages. So in totality, maybe your concept note will be about 5 to 8 pages, maybe. Then from introduction, an introduction represents present. What is there now? What do I have now? How am I going to do this? How am I going to deliver this value, etc., etc. And then the future is what we refer to as goals, objectives, tasks, milestones, results, name it. So in your concept note, you need to write details of what you want to achieve. And after putting details of what you want to achieve, you need to describe how you will achieve what you want to achieve. And maybe what you expect to get out of that. It could be in terms of impact, it could be in terms of numbers like results, how many people are going to benefit from your solution, etc., etc. And lastly, call to action. Concept note, I mean, you need to put it out clearly on task-based, or say, for example, maybe you're writing this concept to get someone to work with, to get a few resources around people. So at that point, call to action would be demonstrating when or what you're going to start with, what you want to start, etc., etc. I hope no one has a question as yet, but just in case you have one, feel free to raise your hand. There are options below your gadget. You can feel free to raise your hand, and then maybe John will interrupt a bit, and then we can take your question, just in case. Then the next is the business proposal. And the business proposal is majorly and most importantly what you need to actually get or write a very good application that can maybe win you funds from anywhere. It could be, if you are a non-profit, maybe then it would mean from other development partners. If you are a for-profit business, certainly it could be to your next partner, it could be to your next investor, it could be to your team, people you want to work with. So in a business proposal, first and foremost, you need to do your homework. You need to do your homework about who you are writing this proposal for. If you're writing this proposal to win or to get funds, then you need to first do your homework on who is this funder? What are their interests? How can I fit into their interests? I don't know if you hear me well or you get me right, but that is what you need to do before you write the proposal. So that if this funder is giving 5,000 USD or maybe 100 million Uganda shillings, you are not writing a proposal for 10 million. It means you did not do your homework. We are looking for people who want 100 million. For you are asking for 10 million. You're already out of the selection criteria, say for example. So it is very important for you to do your homework. Then from that, you do what we call structure planning. How are you going to write this proposal? Are you going to start with an introduction follow it with maybe, or you're going to start with an executive summary? At what point are you going to bring in maybe? Do you need, say for example, in this proposal, do you need to do a background study of maybe the area they are looking or focusing on? Are you then going to, so it is really about how you plan to write this proposal. There are people who might not really need certain things in the proposal. Maybe they don't need a budget for you, or they just need you to send a concept note. So if you do not plan on the structure on how your proposal is going to look like, then you might eventually have a vague proposal. And lastly, and most importantly, is the writing. So in the writing for a business proposal, it is important to borrow now, to go back to concept notes and borrow things like, introduction, exploring your problem and solution. So you must write details about, this is my problem, this is how it manifests to my target customer, this is how I intend, this is how it manifests to my target customer, but not just about manifestation. This is the ultimate impact of this problem. And after you're done with that, then you can look at the solution. This is how I am intending to solve this problem. Maybe say if you're solving a problem of hunger, and maybe your solution is about supplying food, getting food from donors to supply to these particular people, then you would have to start talking about how you understand in village X, they have plenty of food and they have this kind of management or this kind of leadership, and you are intending to, tap into that leadership, those networks of yours, and then be able to collect, excess food, and then this excess food is delivered in this model to the people who are stricken by hunger. So something like that. Like it must be very well built up or arranged or organized. Then later on, you look at your target audience. Who is this solution, or who are these people facing problem X for which solution you're building? If they are the people stricken by hunger, how is this hunger? How does this hunger manifest? Is it to a few people, or it is to a general? Is it to only women? Is it to only men? Is it to just children, school-going children? So you need to be very explicit on who you're targeting in your proposal, so that the person who will receive this proposal can clearly know or see that it aligns maybe with their interests in their call for proposals. If they did not call for proposals, certainly it is within their interests, in their goals and objectives. So that is why, again, in your introduction or going back, you need to have done your homework, your research. Later on, we know that every proposal has costs attached to it, and that is why oftentimes we say budget. And in this budget, we are not saying that put in so much or too detailed stuff. You just need to bundle things, or what is a better word to use? A better word I could use is, okay, if it is about utilities, you don't have to start saying, say, water, electricity, blah, blah, blah. Just say utilities and put the figure you think or you have estimated for utilities. If it is about salaries, just talk about maybe something like operations and put a certain figure. So it doesn't have to be too detailed, unless if the funder has asked you to write a very detailed budget. And lastly, but not least, is reviewing your proposal. And reviewing can be done by any person. You could find a friend to just look through your proposal and ask them to read. After they read, you will ask them for feedback, of course, in terms of what do you feel about my project? Did you identify a few errors, or the story doesn't rhyme the right way? And of course, if you can find a proposal writer as well, it's a good one, because they will use the technicality to critique your work. I hope with the business proposal that comes out a bit clearer. Number 4, which might not be very relevant for this conversation, but I need to also a bit cover it, is what we call a business plan. So as you're sending your proposal, we should be thinking that you're not just hoping that the funder is going to begin or is whose resources you're going to begin with. We are actually assuming that you have already begun, you're already doing something on your own, you have already reached maybe 50%, you're looking for extra money, or even 30%, you're looking for extra funds, extra resources to reach your peak. So, but how do you reach your peak? You can't reach your peak when you do not have a business plan. And I've told people oftentimes that if you cannot have a business plan, then have a strategic plan. Because these two documents give you clarity of where you want to go and certainly how you should get there. So, like I said, if you cannot have a business plan, then have a strategic plan. A strategic plan clearly stipulates what you need to achieve in a certain period of time, whereas a business plan is like a general document that clearly, puts your roadmap in terms of how you create your value, how you communicate your value, how you sell the value, how you deliver this value to the customer, and finally, how you capture this value from the customer. I'll just try to define maybe what these 5 areas look like. This is the definition of a business plan, a roadmap that helps you understand how you create value, how you communicate the value, how you sell the value, and how you deliver this value to the customer. But most importantly, you need to capture this value after you have delivered it. What shows that you delivered value? That is how you capture, or that is what we are referring to as capturing value. By creating value, we are saying, does your project or solution solve someone's challenge, someone's problem? Does it solve, like realistically, does it solve someone's problem? If it does, then it means that you are able to create the value. How do you communicate? How you communicate the value? We are not really talking about marketing. How are you going to tell this person who is faced by this challenge that you have a solution to them? And so they should be able to see that, or they should feel and learn that you have created them a solution. And so they either need to get ready to take on the solution, buy the solution, or use the solution. So that is literally or typically talking about the marketing side of things. How you sell the value. This is talking about sales. I mean, as I was talking about marketing, I talked about something to do with able to buy. So if someone cannot buy your value that then you communicated to them, then it eventually turns out turns from being a business to possibly being a non-profit. They have used the value, but they can't pay for the value. Then that is not a business. It is certainly a non-profit. After you have sold the value, after you have been able to sell the value, the next is, or the next thing to to challenge yourself in a business plan, or the business plan should show is how you deliver this value. So by delivery is how are you going to transfer this value from you, or where you develop this value from, to the customer's place of convenience or consumption. Of course, if it was a business like a logistics company, then it would be carrying these products from my place to the next shop, so that, or from my production plant to the shops, so that the customers can get this. That is really talking about value delivery. How do you transport? How do you move this value from the place of development to the place of consumption? And lastly, how you capture value is typically saying, after someone has consumed your product, are they able to affirm that this was indeed value, was indeed important and helpful for them? Because at the end of the day, you need to even understand where they felt like it wasn't helpful at all, or it was not super good, so that you go back and improve your product, your solution. So if at the end of the day, you are unable to capture the value, you are unable to get this feedback, someone will come and do this for you, or do this with a similar product, and before you realize, you stopping at level 4, someone is out competing you. And that is how, for someone who understands this process, can easily come into the industry and disrupt it. Before you realize they are taking over the whole market, everyone is starting to look at you badly, because they feel like you just came in and then you are taking over every client they had. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a brief about the 4 important things: the concept note, the proposal, the business proposal, and lastly, the business plan. Like I told you, the business plan is helpful when you're running the business. The business proposal is helpful at either stages, whether you have started the business or you have not yet started the business. The proposal helps you get into contact with the relevant people, partners, funds, etc. It helps you get these relevant resources on your disposal. But it is also not guaranteed that for you to start, you must have these things. You can also say, okay, I do not have a proposal. I don't want to propose to anyone. I have my small money. I'm going to start with my small money. Eventually, I will use this concept note to convince the person I want to work with, my partner, blah, 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 blah. But at any point you want to raise resources externally, then that is where the business proposal becomes important and relevant. Ladies and gentlemen, from this point, I would want to take you to another chapter, which is the opportunity you need to embrace. And this opportunity is giving you a lot of money, 5,000 US dollars, which is about 16 million Ugandan shillings, free money, which you do not need, which you won't be able to return. I don't know how many of you have heard about this opportunity, but this opportunity is now about 7 years old. Ugandans have benefited from this opportunity, and they are over now about 900 Ugandans. 900 Ugandans, each of them getting 16 million Ugandan shillings for free to their businesses, of course, not to go and marry the second wife, no, to their businesses. So it is what I would want to present to you today, and it is called the Tony Romeo Foundation Entrepreneurship Program or funding program. It funds entrepreneurs who have interesting ideas, who have interesting businesses, that are able to transform their communities, themselves, and possibly their economies. And this program, as you're seeing these highlights, has been running, like I said, for the 7 years. And Tech Buzz Hub started, is one of the beneficiaries, I should pronounce. We are a beneficiary of 2016, that this was after the first year of their program, of their launch. And we got the 16 million free money. And that is how we have managed to later on continue to advocate, to influence for this program so that many more Ugandans can benefit from this program. And we have done this together with UBA, United Bank for Africa. Eventually you learn why UBA. So these are still the trainings, just like this training, we have done these trainings with UBA at UBA offices, and this was 219. This was 220 still at UBA in partnership with UBA. Then COVID hadn't yet come, so physical meetings were okay. Yeah, so what is the opportunity? What opportunity are we talking about right about now? I would want to give you the chance to actually listen by yourself what this opportunity is. And I would love to have your attention. I'm going to play a video that provides you all the details you need to know about this program, and later on give you another video that gives you the highlight of what was in the previous 2021 performance, the type of businesses that were mostly, sponsored, the beneficiaries, the number of beneficiaries. Over 4,000 people last year were given $5,000 US, 16 million Ugandan shillings for free. Each of them, not that money that is shared. Each person, over or almost 5,000 entrepreneurs. But this is not only in Uganda, across Africa. So this is a program that possibly you never want to miss, and this is your opportunity. We're saying this is your opportunity, it is your turn, it is your time. If you do not, give it attention, certainly someone else will take the opportunity from you. But if you give it attention, certainly you are one of those people we are talking about. So allow me share another screen that will play the video, and then we can have these highlights. Okay, I'll be sharing this particular screen. John, do we have any questions so far, just in case?
Not as yet.
Okay.
Innovation doesn't happen on its own. It needs leaders to drive it.
And finally, we have produced a short behind-the-scenes video that encapsulates the 2021-20 Elimination Foundation operation. Please, I hope you enjoy viewing. Videos, please.
The 2021-20 Elimination Foundation Entrepreneurship Program took a different format from the format used in the previous years. This time, we leveraged heavily on technology, where at least 80% of our program was automated. The 2021 Entrepreneurship Program was all configured and administered on our digital platform, TEF Connect. We built in business logic and algorithm to help in the shortlisting exercise. The program has 5 major stages, with each phase assessing the entrepreneurship mindset, business knowledge, and resilience. The stages are 1, application, with psychometric and cognitive assessment. 2, training. This is the 12-week business management training and coaching phase. Our coaches are mainly sourced from our alumni base. The training has 2 major parts: 6 weeks of core online self-paced business management training and 6 weeks of webinar-style training sessions on business plan and financial planning, the TOE way, which expounds on character building and the core business values of our founder, Mr. Elimination. And then the training on the craft of delivering a compelling elevator pitch to potential investors. 3, entrepreneurs are also required to submit a business summary plan. Shortlisted entrepreneurs from the pitching phase went on to submit a 2 to 4 minute business pitch video, which are assessed and scored by our carefully sourced and assessed judges. The pitching phase is the final phase of the entrepreneurship program. The final selected entrepreneurs will receive the $5,000 seed capital. To ensure the integrity of our entrepreneurship program and ensure the right people are selected, we engage the services of third-party experts to test our processes, systems, and people. On the system side, we conduct load, stress, performance, vulnerability, and penetration tests. On process, we test to ensure our processes are seamless and void of errors, with effective controls in place. On the people side, we leverage the robust infrastructure and systems of our bank of choice, United Bank for Africa, to conduct a world check on our selected entrepreneurs. Further investigation is done for any flagged entrepreneur. Where a total match is found, the entrepreneur is replaced. With this, we have been able to deliver an impactful entrepreneurship program. And watch this space, we have only just begun.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I don't have to repeat that. Everyone has heard by themselves. I know eventually you have questions, but in the meantime, I would want to also show you something else. So let's try and watch this other video. Okay, just a second, let me find out. Have you guys been able to hear or listen? Or you were just seeing things moving? John, can you confirm? For some reason, I think.
Yes, they have been listening, but I see Muivu Shafiq has a question. But before Muivu, someone asked, is it Leslie?
Yes, please.
Yes, please pass on your question.
I wanted to find out, good morning, everyone. I wanted to find out, would it be a good idea to include links to the websites of which you could have carried the research for a business proposal?
Hello, what did you mean by?
Okay, let's say I'm working on an energy access project, and then I go to the Romeo website and get some facts from their website, which possibly a donor or a grantee wants to know. I want also to use that information to win the grant or the donation. Would it be a good idea for me to include that link to the website in my business proposal?
I am not sure, but of course, the proposal, the business proposal, really, it is not like a public document where they will start asking you of references. Where did you get this information? Blah, blah, blah. Unless if you're writing like an email to a direct person and you have never had a conversation, or an exchange of communication together. That is when you can easily be like, hey, I got your contact through this platform and I am interested in maybe applying for this program. Could you possibly give me a few highlights on what I need to know before I send in my application? But still you realize that is not when you are sending in your proposal. So it is just pre-proposal period where you're saying, okay, I've gotten these people, I can get in touch and first get to understand how this program has been running, blah, 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 blah. Of course, that will help you write the right or put together the right proposal if you first have a conversation with the people involved. But otherwise, I think like for the when you're submitting the real proposal, it is really not necessary.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. But I think let's save these questions to the end of the presentation. Please write down your questions. We shall answer them after the last speaker. Thank you so much. Please, you can continue.
I just want to confirm from the audience, not from you, John. People in the audience, the previous video, were you able to listen in the words? Like when the presentation or the video was running, were you hearing? Please just write a yes or no in the chat, because we need to be sure. I see a no, I see a no, I see a no, I see a no. That's so bad. I should have gotten someone give me those highlights. So allow me to replay this video for purposes of people to listen in. Sorry about that. I did not notice. I didn't notice that. So sorry.
To use it for the common good of all. I would like to thank our partners, without whom we would not have been able to achieve this feat on such scale. Because of you, thousands of entrepreneurs have hope. So I would like to encourage everyone here to support and commit to supporting entrepreneurs. There are small ways and big ways of achieving this, from as little as liking or commenting on their social media pages, to purchasing their products, or as big as investing in their businesses or providing extra funding for their businesses. And so, I say, we must always carry the consciousness of supporting African entrepreneurs and creating access for them in service, in connection, and in community. This act has the true power to transform our communities, our continents, and our lives. And finally, we have produced a short behind-the-scenes video that encapsulates the 2021 Tony Elumelu Foundation operations. Please, I hope you enjoy viewing. Videos, please.
The 2021 Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Program took a different format from the format used in the previous years. This time, we leveraged heavily on technology, where at least 80% of our program was automated. The 2021 Entrepreneurship Program was all configured and administered on our digital platform, TEF Connect. We built in business logic and algorithm to help in the shortlisting exercise. The program has 5 major stages, with each phase assessing the entrepreneurship mindset, business knowledge, and resilience. The stages are: 1, application, with psychometric and cognitive assessment. 2, training. This is the 12-week business management training and coaching phase. Our coaches are mainly sourced from our alumni base. The training has 2 major parts: 6 weeks of core online self-paced business management training and 6 weeks of webinar-style training sessions on business plan and financial planning, the TOE way, which expounds on character building and the core business values of our founder, Mr. Elumelu. and then the training on the craft of delivering a compelling elevator pitch to potential investors. 3. Entrepreneurs are also required to submit a business summary plan. Shortlisted entrepreneurs from the pitching phase went on to submit a 2 to 4 minute business pitch video, which are assessed and scored by our carefully sourced and assessed judges. The pitching phase is the final phase of the entrepreneurship program. The final selected entrepreneurs will receive the $5,000 seed capital. To ensure the integrity of our entrepreneurship program and ensure the right people are selected, we engage the services of third-party experts to test our processes, systems, and people. On the system side, we conduct load, stress, performance, vulnerability, and penetration tests. On process, we test to ensure our processes are seamless and void of errors, with effective controls in place. On the people side, we leverage the robust infrastructure and systems of our bank of choice, United Bank for Africa, to conduct a wall check on our selected entrepreneurs. Further investigation is done for any flagged entrepreneur. Where a total match is found, the entrepreneur is replaced. With this, we have been able to deliver an impactful entrepreneurship program, and watch this space, we have only just begun.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for those who were not able to listen in, that was the video I was intending to have you listen to, but I also want you to pay attention to this other one.
Thank you.
I sort of think we can do better than that. For a second, I forgot I was meant to MC. I was there smiling and clapping away happily. So that's Titi Akinola, Director of Operations for the Tony Elumelu Foundation.
So for this
from agriculture and healthcare to education and fashion, all working towards the common. I'm also happy to note that this year's class has the highest number of female beneficiaries, with the men constituting 68%. And this 68% is just a bit over 3,000 of all that were selected. And by now, I'm sure we all know that when you empower an African woman, you empower a whole community and create a brighter future for all. This class represents, as have the previous years, a diverse range of interests from agriculture and healthcare to education and fashion, all working towards the common goal of doing well and doing good. These men and women are disruptors, they're innovators, and they're the future leaders of industry. I am confident that these men and women will be excellent ambassadors for the foundation and for the entrepreneurship program. I, for one, am extremely proud and I'm excited to see and read about their future successes. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Program Class of 2021.
So, ladies and gentlemen, at this stage, I need to give you a few highlights. This is just a presentation, what they call a reveal. So no one is speaking about these figures or numbers. About 4,949 entrepreneurs were selected in 2021 to receive the 5,000 non-returnable US dollars in the 54 African countries. Most of the biggest number was from West Africa. Oftentimes Nigeria takes the biggest number because they are the most, they know this is real. it started, or it is from their country, so they tend to take the biggest number. As you can see on the lower part, it is at 1,000 and so. Then Eastern Africa came second, then Central Africa. So in Eastern Africa, that is where Uganda is, and Uganda is taking lead in Eastern Africa with 295. If you can see, just like on the bottom of this Eastern Africa, 295 entrepreneurs in Uganda were beneficiaries. And then in Central Africa came third, then South Africa came second last, and then Northern Africa. So, gender distribution. With gender distribution, as you can see, women took the biggest number, 68.07%, and males 31.93%. Why do we have a biggest number of women? Initially, the Tony Romeo Entrepreneurship Program was targeting 1,000 entrepreneurs every year, but there came new partners who said increase the number to 4,000. And there are some other partners who come in with smaller numbers. Okay, we are going to sponsor 200 entrepreneurs, so we are giving you that money for 200. And so they come with their targets saying, we want more women. So if you can, this money is only for women entrepreneurs. So increase the number of women entrepreneurs. That is how the number for women had to go so high. So this is an opportunity also for women on this call, that you start better chances, because the globe is actually putting all eyes on you. The stages of distribution, we had more idea stage selected entrepreneurs, which stood at 684. So I just have an idea. Those people were the biggest or largest selected. Infancy, those ones who are at early stage, 1,198. And then growth, 67. I am at a stage of scaling, maybe to other geographies or other locations in my country. So those were only 67. So this clearly tells you that at whichever stage you are able to, you are actually meant to benefit from this program. And what I'm saying is, do not change your idea or your project to an idea stage, because ideas are mostly took the biggest percentage. No, if you do that, you definitely risk losing. You better focus in your current stage and be there and try to sell yourself. Tony Romeo himself, the program owner, says democratizing luck. He knows that so many people really would want this money, but they cannot have all of them. They will only take those who are lucky and who qualify based on their assessment. Let's also see this last one. So as you can see, agriculture was the biggest industry supported, followed by food and beverages, followed by fashion, followed by beauty and wellness, education and training, manufacturing, ICT, commercial retail, healthcare, waste management, and others. So what this means is, irrespective of which industry you are in, you are considered. I remember in our time, consulting was at 1% and was the least considered. But myself and one of our other colleagues here in Uganda called Imali were selected in that category, 1%. So no matter which industry you are, what you need to do is make sure you write so well about yourself. And these are the numbers of the selected entrepreneurs. Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, I will just stop this video and maybe we conclude. And how we're going to conclude this session is to quickly run through, add a voice on what you've heard by yourself. And how do I add this voice? How do you apply is what I'm going to cover here. How to apply is you just go to tefconnect.net, tefconnect.net, or www.tefconnect.net. This other word you're seeing here, .net, even if by the way you also put .com, it will still bring you to .net platform. And then you sign up, you go through the process of the normal process, like you follow prompt until you're signed up, and then you can start your application later on. Best practices as you apply. You need to reflect about who you are and what your business is. You need to possibly, if you don't yet have a mentor, you need to have a mentor so that as you write this concept, as you write about your business, someone is able to say, I like how intriguing, how convincing your application looks like, or your concept looks like. The truth of the matter is the application is not really about writing a book or a concept, but you just have to write those few paragraphs that are saying about your business, maybe in 200 words or 500 words. It must be captivating enough. Read instructions, very critical. Be the serious candidate. If you went to school and you do not attend classes, what happens at the end of the day? You retake, you do not pass, possibly you are also eliminated or expelled. First, be impressed by your work. If your work doesn't impress you, it won't impress anyone other person. So now that you have gotten to get this information much earlier, work on making sure that what you're doing, what your business is about, what your project is about, your concept impresses you first. Manage your expectations. Like I said earlier, this is about democratizing luck, as the founder of Tony Romeo Foundation says. Manage your expectations. If you don't go through, just know you did not meet the right criteria. But do your best. Doing your best is what definitely matters. Keep the initial spark. What made you start? Keep it and keep it and keep it. Seek guidance. If you can, find someone to help you out in either building your concept or revising a few things you're writing, so that they are able to impress the intended the intended reviewer for some reason. And then we are talking about what shouldn't you do. Don't rely on assumptions. Don't be scared. Don't hurry in feeding unless otherwise. Don't use phones to apply. Very important. Don't use phones to apply. If you can't borrow a laptop, then I request that you visit someone with the laptop, or you visit a cafe or a place where you know I will take my time after. Of course, it's okay to use the phone to just look at what they need or find information, but time for applying, I emphasize, don't use phones. Don't copy and paste. Copy and paste might be one of those things that might not even get you going through, because as you watch the video, you saw something called cognitive, tests, where they check your work using AI or artificial intelligence. So in any way, this could be one of the things that you must write. This has to demonstrate that you wrote this yourself, that you actually understand what you're writing. Yeah, in the old applications, and this is a bit related with the concept note, they were looking at these 5 areas: personal information, contact details, your education background, social media platforms. Someone was asking about where you got the information. Now, this would be about your personal or your business social media platforms, your business profile. Now, this is where we would write about our business, our company structure, our market potential, our financials, business impact attestations. But today, this is not us. But for you to pass, to actually go through, these should be things that you have clearly looked through. That is why we have to go through the business proposal, the business concept note, the proposal, the business plan, so that you know this is very important. First things first. And in the personal information, this is what we would put: contact details, education, social media. In business profile, business company details, about me, leadership skills, personal achievement, elevator pitch, detailed description, something to inspire or excite the reviewer. Then this was my sample for 2016. This is how I was right. But like I said, these things are no longer required, but it is good if you can have them so that they help you in writing better or putting together those few things that they might ask in this new way of applying. Registered, yes or no. They would ask about how a company is structured, whether registered or no, but you can choose whichever it is that your business is at. Company documents, if it is a yes, you would have to submit documents. Primary role, and I think even up to now, this part is covered. Primary role, what is your primary role, how many employees you have, just in case you're already established. Market potential, we talk about the addressable market, revenue model, marketing strategy, competitors, differentiator, current and next milestones. And then financials, invested cash, like you, how much have you invested in the business? Because if you have not put in anything, not even your time, because you can even turn your time into money and say, okay, I've worked in this business for about 5 months now. Assuming each month I was getting 500,000 paid to me, it means I've already invested in 2.5 million. Yeah, so you see, you can be creative on some of those few things. Then monthly expenses, lifetime revenue, break-even volume, break-even revenue, all these things are what constitute your concept: impact, challenges, aims, business skills. Then we would end with something called attestations. A referee, and I think they still need them. Maybe the previous or the last year's beneficiary, who I think is on this call, will give a few highlights. But I remember information, full-time or part-time, those things are still asked. And if you ever say that you work in your business part-time, to be realistic, I don't think anyone would want to give you any support because you're not serious. But if you're running or working in your business full-time or intend to work full-time, definitely someone would have some bit of trust at least. Then they want referees. Who can they contact to confirm that you're in that business or something? So any referee you must highlight to them what you're doing so that at any point they contact them, they do not misrepresent you. And then your contacts and your address. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all about the process and procedure of application. If you have any questions, please feel free to keep your questions. You will possibly ask them when the next panelist finishes their conversation or their talking, and then we can give you feedback. Over to you, John. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. That was quite a good submission. I hope each one of us picked quite a good number of points to note down and polish. I know people are already in business, but some of us are not. But Kenneth put some highlights to everything. Next on our agenda, we have Winnie Ayero. Winnie Ayero is a CEO who actually a beneficiary of last year's Tony Romeo Foundation seed capital. What we want to hear from her, how was it applying? Most of you still think this is it legit? Eh? Is it really, does it happen? Yes. We have Winnie Ayero amidst us, and she's the CEO and great founder of Great First Impression. Please, you're welcome, Winnie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I do not see or hear anybody, so I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Morning. Thank you so much for having me. John mentioned that he'd like me to share my experience with the grant and mentorship entrepreneurship of the Tony Elumelu Foundation. So the way I came to find out about the Tony Elumelu Foundation was actually through a Facebook advert. I had not heard about it before January 2021. I found an advert on Facebook, and at least I'd heard about Tony Elumelu himself before, although I'd not heard about the grant or the foundation. So I thought to give it a shot because at least I had heard about Tony Elumelu, and I know he's an influential person. He's a respected person in African and global business circles. So I think I saved the advert. And then along the way, I saw another advert running of the Tony Elumelu Foundation. It was a video advert, and it had a Ugandan, somebody called Robert. And that sort of, for me, hit closer to home, because then it convinced me that there were actually Ugandans that were and they were benefiting and they were successful. And then, as luck would have it, sometimes you almost feel like God is aligning things to work in your favor, because I actually ran into Robert at a restaurant. I'd gone to meet someone else, the same person that I had seen in the advert. I ran into him at a restaurant and I approached him. I went to him, I said, "Excuse me, sorry, we don't know each other, but could you by any chance be the person who was speaking in the video of the Tony Elumelu Foundation that was circulating on the internet?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Well, I'm interested. I'm looking to apply for the program. And like seeing you both on sort of social media as well as in person helped me to believe that it is possible, that it is real. So if you don't mind, could I take your contacts?" And he actually gave me his business card. So for me, that is how the whole process started. For me, I had never, literally ever heard about the Tony Elumelu Foundation grant before January 2021. And also I did not know anybody that had applied that had been successful. But I started by seeing an ad online, and then I bumped into somebody that had sort of benefited. And for me, that consolidated my faith in the program. Then I applied, and just so you know, when you're applying in January or whenever, okay, I think the application process runs for about 3 months, January to March. And usually there is an assessment that you must do. It is timed. I initially didn't know that. When I started applying, I was just taking my time. Like I said, for me, it was sort of try and error. I had never heard about the program before, didn't know anybody who'd done it before. I bumped into Robert, yes, but I didn't really rely on him that much for mentorship. I didn't want to bother him too much. Occasionally I'd ask questions, but yes, the initial test is, there is an assessment and it is timed. So you have to be conscious at the back of your mind. It's not, in my opinion, very difficult, but it is timed. So it's important that you bear in mind that as you're doing it, sort of the time will be showing somewhere in a corner. Make sure that you beat the time so that you pass the initial assessment. Also, every step of the program, actually, all the way from the application, another thing you should bear in mind is an assessment and elimination stage. They might not tell you upfront, but there'll be assessments running at the various stages, and people will be eliminated at virtually every stage. It's important that you make sure that you do not wait until the last moment to do your various assessments. There'll be various assessments along the way. Usually they'll give you like plenty of time. They might give you a month or 2 or even 3. For a lot of us, myself inclusive, we have this bad habit of thinking, I have time, I'll do it later, you know? And then in the end, you find you're panicking, you don't have enough time. You cannot do your best when you're performing under that much pressure. So I would highly encourage you to try to do your assessments and whatever else is required of you earlier on in the program. When it comes to, say, like the final assessment for your category, because you will be put in categories, there is the startup category, I think, and innovator and disruptor. And I think you do different tests depending on your category. When it comes to the final exam, it is not timed. And if I can share with you something that I did that maybe is a tip that could help you, you can actually do it as an open book exam. What I did, I studied a bit of law at the university as a course unit. I'm not a lawyer, but it was a course unit in one of the courses I studied. And in law, we were allowed to do open book exams. You go into the exam room with your notes and you're allowed to open and read and, you know, while you do the exam. Of course, you have to be mindful of time because unlike this assessment at university, your exams are timed. So if you don't read thinking it's going to be an open book, then you're going to struggle a bit because instead of doing the exam, you'll be reading and then you might not finish and then you might still fail the exam. However, I just thought to share with you that the final exam is not timed and you can actually do it as an open book test. So in my particular case, what I did, because they'll send you links to all of the training material for your category, and they are downloadable. So I used 2 machines. So like I used, sorry, I'm having problems with my stand, my tablet stand hold. Okay, I think that's a little better. So what I did, I downloaded the documents and I had 2 screens. I had my laptop open and I had a desktop. Sort of, that's how I work. I use both the laptop and the desktop. They're usually both open. So on one screen, I had like the notes for the exam that I was doing. And on another screen, I had the test. So if I got to an answer and I was struggling, I would open the other screen, like check the screen that has the notes and do a search. The documents are PDF. I do a search and then with the keyword of a particular question, find the answer and fill it in. My average score for the final was 90 because there were 3 assessments. One wasn't rated. There were 4 assessments, one wasn't rated. So of the 3, I scored 80, 90, and 100. And the average of those is 90. And I think your scores contribute to your overall assessment. So try not to take them lightly, try to give it your best, try to give it as much as you can. Also, the foundation will say that they will give you mentors. I never got a mentor from the foundation. No kidding. I did the entire program beginning to end. I never got a mentor from the program. So you can always get advice, help, support from other people. They do not necessarily have to be within TEF circles, because I got a couple of people to review both my pitch and my business summary. This year we did not submit a business plan. We only submitted a business summary, which is a bit broader and more detailed, as a matter of fact, than what a business plan probably would have required. I got a couple of people to review and had them give me advice, people that I trusted, that were good with business acumen, and I got them to give me feedback. Now, here's the thing, you also have to be, what can I say? You have to be alert and not just take whatever is said to you. Use your head, use your brain, if I can say that. Because like one of the people I approached to review like my pitch sent me a 6-page document to help me extract information for the pitch. It was a lot of information. It was a lot of questions, probably like 20 or more questions. And I remember I said to him, this is not possible. I mean, I have only 4 minutes of the pitch video, and I cannot, no matter how hard I try, compress the answers to all of these questions to fit. So yes, people will advise you, but they do not have access to, they call it the TEF TDMS. It's a portal, sort of where TEF communicates with you one-on-one. They do not have access to the TEF portal. They do not have access to the specific instructions that TEF is giving you about how to do various things. So sort of you have to have a balance between the advice that you're given and the guides or the templates that TEF will give you. If you totally ignore what TEF gives you and you go with, this is a person that's mentoring me, you could easily be misled, because in my case, like they say, listen to advice, but make your own decisions. That's what I did. I had 2 people. I always approach them and let them review my documents, my pitch, but ultimately I made the final decisions about what should appear in my pitch, what should appear in my business plan, and try to do what TEF asks you to do. Because like, for instance, the business summary, sorry, not a plan. For instance, like the business summary, there's a word limit for literally every question. There'll be a question, they'll say they don't want you to exceed 50 words. There'll be a question for which they want only 100 words. There'll be a question for which they want only 150 words. I know that summary writing is not easy, but try to revise and cut down on verbosity. Verbosity is basically using a lot of words as much as possible and stick to the word limit. Follow the instructions. I think that's very important. I made sure that I stayed within the word limit for every single question that I answered. And this is one of the reasons why I'm saying, don't wait for the last minute. Those things look like they're easy, but they're not. Like cutting down something from, say, 250 words to 100 words. It's not easy. So basically what I do, I started with a draft, filled in my ideas, because you have to start with what you want to say before you can then panel beat it to fit the word count. So I'd fill in what I want to say, and then I'd like review it several times, you know? So like John did say, I'm the founder of Great First Impression. It's a consultancy. We write CVs, cover letters, we optimize LinkedIn profiles, et al. But the thing is, what I do in my profession also requires me to do a lot of summary writing, because when I'm writing a CV, a lot of people put a lot of irrelevant information and then the choice of words, and then, so I have to rework it. I have also done like, they're called job fit questionnaires for people that are looking to apply for jobs in the UN. UN questionnaires, the job fit questionnaires also have word limits. Most of them are like 1,000 words max. And then I have to panel beat. So usually, sometimes I'll help the applicants to come up with the answers, especially if I've worked on their CV, sort of I have a little bit of insight on their strengths, their experience, what they've done, you know, so I can sort of come up with like draft answers and then have them review, then I sort of do the final. So even in that, I do a lot of compressing of information. So for me, it was not entirely new, because like I said, I do some of this in the course of my work as well, but try to apply, try to do what you need to do early. For things like summarizing, you need to summarize without getting rid of what you want to say. So it helps a lot to sort of fill in your, say, the business summary early enough, and then review it like maybe 3 to 5 times, adjusting it accordingly, changing maybe the word choice, cutting out certain words without losing the gist of what you are trying to say. That is very important. And in my case, I also sort of did my business pitch by myself, actually. I didn't get any help with the business pitch in terms of the actual recording, video editing, so on and so forth. And I think it worked in my favor because I kept on making changes up to 3 or 4 times. I'd record every single day, review, share with the people that I said were helping me to, okay, one wasn't too supportive on the business pitch, but there's one who was very responsive. So like I'd send the business pitch and say, so this is what I've done today. What do you think? Then they'd give me feedback tomorrow. I think you should change this. I think you should change that. And then the next day I'd record again. And I recorded and okay, so you might think I did this because I'm probably good with this. Not at all. I am at the moment, for the most part, a one-person business. I have one person in Pretoria, South Africa, who helps me, although they're not full-time in the business with me, but I do have a support staff in Pretoria. And because I'm a startup, I don't have that much money to throw around. I try as much as I can to learn how to do things by myself so that I can, because with business, it's either one or the other. You're either going to invest time or you're going to invest money. So where you do not have the money, the fallback position is the time. So time sometimes comes with taking the time to learn skills. So I basically had to figure out how to do video editing by myself. I recorded, edited, did everything for my video by myself. I included some text, I included some words, but ultimately I did my video pitch myself. And I was saying it was a good thing because I kept on making changes. I made changes probably 3 or 4 times with input from the one person who was helping me to review my pitches. I'd record and I'd say, what do you think of this? Of course, I tried as much as possible to stick with the template that TEF gave me, because TEF will provide sort of a template-ish. They will not share it with you, actually. They told us they would, but they didn't. However, they sort of showed it to us during one of the YouTube meetings. They just showed it on the video. They had somebody speak to us about how to do these pitches, probably somebody like John, because this person also, I think, is doing something similar to what John is doing. They invited this lady and she shared, and there's a sort of a brief showing of a guide, and I took a screenshot of it. And so that's what I referred to, and I tried to stick with that template. Now, it will be very important for you to show the impact of sort of your business. When I applied for TEF, so my story is that I resigned my job in January last year to go into full-time consultancy. I did not have any prior business experience at all, but I thought I'll take the leap and I'll learn along the way. And so far, God has been good. It's going well. So if you're in the services industry like me, I would very highly recommend getting testimonials from your clients, because I feel like for me, that is one of the big things that helped me with, say, getting TEF to believe that this was a credible and feasible business idea. Like I said, I write CVs, I do career consulting. It's not like a common business idea, especially in these parts of the world. They may probably not have heard about it before, but I had testimonials. I could show them that I wrote a CV for somebody in the US, okay? I've not even been to the US myself. May surprise you. I know a lot of people say I speak with an accent and so on and so forth. Europeans say I speak like an American, Americans say I speak like a European, not a problem anyways. But I have written a CV for a person in the US in a field that I did not even know existed. She's an occupational therapist. I'd never heard of that profession before I met her, and I met her on the internet, by the way. You know how you're in a group and then somebody says, oh, I need somebody to write for me a CV. So then by then I'd not yet set up anything. I literally sent her my own CV. I said, this is what I can do for you. Have a look at my own CV and let me know if you'd like for me to write yours too. And she said she'd get back to me by the next day, and she took a chance on me and wrote her a CV. And believe it or not, exactly 1 week after I wrote her the CV, she had 3 interviews scheduled. This is a person who's been working from literally the year I was born. So she's definitely old enough to be my mother. I'd never heard of her profession. I have not been to the US, but I was able to write her a CV that got her a job. And I did not even know how I'd be paid, by the way. At that point, like I said, I'd not yet set up systems, but I thought if I fail totally to get payment, I'll just request her for a recommendation. Recommendations are important. They'll give you traction in your business. So I was able to get paid, and I was also able to get a recommendation from her. And she gave me like a glowing recommendation, and she was willing to put it on my LinkedIn page. And that sort of, for me, jump-started a lot of things. And then also I requested for recommendation for somebody I trained for interviews. He's currently working with the UN in the Netherlands. He's a Ugandan. He's not Dutch, he's a Ugandan. But I actually coached him for interviewing a couple of times. And he's now working with the UN Mechanism for International Criminal Tribunals in The Hague, in the Netherlands. So that one also gave me a recommendation. And up to now, I keep asking for recommendations or testimonials from my clients. So those are the things that I actually showcased in my TEF business summary and pitch to convince these people that this is a credible business idea. I have the potential for both a local and a global reach, because I did incorporate local testimonials as well. Like there's somebody in a Standard Chartered Bank that I wrote a CV for. And they literally told us she had the best CV out of all the applicants, like literally of all the applicants that applied to a particular job. It was a senior level job. Okay, sorry. I've been told I need to wind up, sure. Yeah, anyway, so I think traction, they say traction is important. When you are a startup, majority, I don't remember the percentage, but majority of the applicants of this year, I think they said about 80%, the businesses were in idea stage, but try as much as possible to get traction. Be mindful that every step there is assessment and elimination, and try to get mentors, but listen to advice and make your own decisions, okay? It comes down to you at the end of the day. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best of luck. God bless.
Thank you so much, Winnie, for sharing with us. Last year, I know it was quite, if I can tell you, it was quite different from all the last year, I mean, the previous years with Romeo Foundation applying. But Shafiq, let's keep the question. We have one more speaker and time is against us. But people managed to apply. Maybe when the questions come around, Winnie, you tell us in one sentence, what do you think made you be able to get this funding? Let's welcome Benjamin, the CEO of Boundless Minds. Boundless Minds is about education, mentorship, and leadership as entrepreneurs. If you notice, all our speakers today, most of them are dealing with entrepreneurs and writing and looking at how an entrepreneur can become successful in this world. So lastly, we have Benjamin Lukwenje from Boundless Minds. He's the founder of Boundless Minds. He's a writer and he's also a journalist. So he's one of the right people you could talk to about writing something good for funding. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Benjamin.
Thank you so much, John. Please wave if you can hear me. Good. Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone who's on the call. Thank you for making the time. It's been amazing listening to the previous two speakers share their experience applying for seed funding. And it's really great that all the three of us have Tony Elumelu to thank for investing in our dreams. I was selected for the 2017 program. I'm from the 2017 cohort of the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program. When I was selected at that time, Boundless Minds was just an idea that was 6 days old. We had just started work and done work for 6 days. So it wasn't quite clear to me at that point what we were about. Most of you here might still be at that stage, that early stage where it's not very clear to you what the idea, what the business is. And that's where I was with Boundless Minds at that point. But the first thing I want to talk about is doing that when you're applying for seed funding, whether it's with Tony Elumelu or whatever other programs are out there that are giving seed funding, it's important that because you're doing this for the very first time, you go through these applications in consultation with others, that you don't go at it alone, because the idea is not very clear to you at this early stage. And one of the things I remember is that actually when the proposal we made, or the proposal that I submitted for Boundless to the Tony Elumelu program isn't what we are doing today. When we eventually went to the market, we found out that, what we wanted to do didn't quite fit the market at the time, but we had got funding for it. So over the years, we have, ideated and iterated until we got to a point where we know what we are offering, and it's totally different from. So if you go to that application and the business plan that we submitted in 2017 and look at what we are doing today, the general idea is still the same. We are still doing mentorship, but what our proposal is totally different. How we are doing it now is totally different from what we proposed. So understand that things will change. And that's the beauty with having unconditional or unrestricted funding, because it allows you to experiment with ideas, to grow without the pressure of having to produce results in the same exact way that the investor or funder wants you to do that. That seed funding also allowed me to leave my job because I was in employment at the time. But when I got the funding, I left my job to concentrate on building Boundless. And now we've grown over the we're making 5 years in March, have a team of 5 full-time people and 3 part-time people and a host of other people that we work with. We built a great mentorship organization that's attracting professionals from everywhere around the world to commit time to mentorship work. But I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had not got that money to allow me to focus on building this company. And that's what's important for you to know when to leave your job, right? I think Kenneth talked about the fact that you're not going to get funded by anyone who doesn't think, when you say you're going to be part-time. And that's very important, because if you have to be able to say, if I get this money or when I get this money, I will leave my job and focus on building this business. Entrepreneurship cannot be part-time or two-time. You're either in or it won't work. So that's also something very, very important to understand. The other thing I'd like to talk about is that entrepreneurship, actually get funding is also about two things. One, it's about opportunity and networks. Two, I also believe strongly that there's a bit of luck involved, which also means that if you get rejected for an opportunity, that doesn't mean that you or your idea are not good enough, right? Because I know people who have very incredible ideas and put in, a lot more work than most, and they've still not gotten their lucky break. I also know people who have been lucky. They were in a, a good place, or they met someone who introduced them to another person, or, their idea got picked even when they had just started, yet someone else who has an even more brilliant idea has not had the opportunity. So if you don't get selected, that doesn't mean that your idea is not good enough or whatever. So there are so many other factors at play that influence whether you get selected or not. And some of them, I believe, is just luck. There are people who are, you might be lucky in some moments, and sometimes you might not be lucky. So don't take it hard on yourself and say, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore. I am done with this. But the beauty with applying for programs like this is that they help you refine your idea further. When I started Boundless Minds, I hadn't started it as a business, right? I'd started it as a non-profit. In the process of applying for the Tony Olumelu program, I found out that the program does not fund non-profits. It funds social enterprises or outright businesses. So I needed to figure out how the program was going to make money, right? And that was a great thing, because I had just started the organization, and I hadn't thought about how we were going to make money. That hadn't occurred to me. I thought maybe we'd, just write proposals and stuff and get money. But in applying, I was able to think about who our customers are, what they might be able to pay, how we are going to reach them, where we will find them, what the product is, why it's important, why they would pay for it. All of those things I was able to do because I was applying. And that's why constantly applying for these sorts of opportunities also helps you refine your idea further, right? So even if you don't get in, because, and I know that's tough if you don't get in, because $5,000 for someone that's just starting out is really, really great money. But even if you don't get in, I can assure you that the questions that you asked when you're writing your business plan and stuff are great for you, because they allow for you to look at your business in a totally different light from how you would have looked at it in the past. Then I think lastly, I'd like to say that writing business plans, or even thinking, ideating, especially at early stage, is not an easy process. Now, most of you are probably like single founders, so you don't have a co-founder, you're trying to figure things out. When you're applying, it's important that you don't go through your application process alone. And I'm saying this not I'm saying this for any other application that you try to get into. The very first time, or the first couple of times you're applying, it's important that as you answer these questions, you have someone else to bounce ideas off with. So ask, okay, who are our clients? Who are we targeting? If you think through this alone, it becomes much harder, because the entrepreneur doesn't always have a 360 view of the entire picture. Because you're so invested in your idea, it's very possible that you will miss some of the very important things that other people might see about your business. So when we were being, for us, I know that now the numbers have grown up to about 4,000. And I'm saying this because of that's it, the Elomelu seed funding, but I know that there's so many other companies, rather entities that give seed funding. For us, when we were applying, they were only selecting 1,000 people. And I see now that they've reached about 4,000. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing. A good thing because, if you are among the 1,000, you felt very happy about it, but the competition was much less, right? Because, I think the program was 2 years old, so it hadn't gained the amount of media attention that exists now. But today, the fact that they are selecting up to 4,000 people, that gives you a higher chance of being among them, right? But also the problem is that there are also a lot more people applying than when we were getting selected. But which is why your pitch must be even stronger. And you can't pitch if you're not asking questions, if you're not interacting, if you're not working on this with someone else or some other people. I don't think, I know for sure, I worked on our application with 2 friends of mine. Like I told you, we had just started, so we didn't have any, the idea wasn't clear. So I got 2 friends with whom I worked through that application to just help me think through what are we doing, why are we doing it, what is this boundless thing, why is it important and stuff like that. So if you're an entrepreneur, but you're not a good writer, right? Find someone to help you through this writing process so that the idea is clear, because sometimes it can be clear in your head, but saying it or expressing it out becomes the problem. So find someone and then work with them on this application. Lastly, I just wanted to let you know that if I'm going to drop this in the chat box, if you're looking for okay, maybe I can even, okay, I see John disabled the sharing option, but it's okay. Let me just drop this in the box. Boundless now has a digital platform called The Mentor. So I have, okay, let me see. I think I shared this with someone privately. Now let me share with everyone. Okay, so if I've just shared, we have a digital platform called The Mentor, which has resources. So if you're struggling with how to write a concept note or how to figure out how to write a business plan and stuff, you can go on there and download templates for it, for any of this stuff. Oh, I can share my screen now. Perfect. Okay, so this is our platform, which you can see. So you can go in there and shop for creative education product, but here you can go in and learn how to write business plans, learn how to build, write concept notes, learn how to pitch your businesses and stuff. But if you also go to resources, under resources, you will, have sample concept note template, sample business canvas, modeling canvas, sample CVs, sample career maps, and stuff like that. So if you're just trying to figure out how do I write a concept note, or how do I write a business plan, or do business canvas modeling, you could just check out our platform. Again, it's called The Mentor. I just shared that on the chat, and it might be able to give you your first step into writing these processes. I don't know if there's anything that you guys wanted to hear from me. I am still on the call, so I will await your questions like all of the other panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Benji. Maybe before you go, you and Winnie are good at writing. So I was wondering, in writing a business plan and pitching, what tense and words should we look out for?
I will let Winnie go first.
Okay, hello everybody once again. So I do not think it is cast in stone, to be honest, because I guess it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about something that you intend to do in the future, then you'll absolutely use future tense. If you're talking about something that you've done in the past, like in my case, my testimonials, I put them in past tense, but I also quote what like the clients have said verbatim. You know, I try to provide as much information as possible. So when it comes to tenses, I think it depends on what you're talking about. Is it something that's going to happen in the future? Did it happen in the past? Is it happening at the present? So you need to, it's flexible. I think it's not cast in stone, in my opinion.
Okay. Yes, Benji.
Yeah, I agree with her. I don't think there's a prescribed tense in which to write. I think it depends on the question, but usually because you're proposing, so it might be that you're talking about what you're going to do, and that might dictate the tense. But if you're writing, I think present tense is what we do now, what we are doing. So I think it's contextual. You can't say use this or use that.
Oh, I see. But some people tend to use I intend to do this, or we intend to do that. Do you say we shouldn't say I or we, or we? This is what we do. How best could you put that?
I didn't quite get that question.
When people are writing a proposal, some people use the pronouns I, first person singular, then plural, we. So is that really something that we could look at?
Yes, because you see, you're writing about a business or a company or an entity. So it makes sense if you are saying we, because the assumption is there's the entity that is submitting this application. You're not, it's not Benjamin who's submitting that application. I am only doing it on behalf of the company that I represent. So it helps, I think, for you to think of yours, to start actually now thinking of yourself as thinking of your company as a different entity from yourself. So I think that I don't know whether the English word is pronoun or whatever, but using the pronoun we instead of I is very important, especially in pitching. So let me give you a small hack. Most people, most investors or most funders or whoever partners are more drawn to you if they don't think you're a single person, right? So if that's why many entrepreneurs want to give off the impression that even when it's still early stage and they're working alone, they want to give off the impression that they have a team behind them, even if they don't have a team, right? Because there's the understanding that we will, if we are pitching to do this work, I am not alone and promising that I'm going to mentor 1,000 people, because there's no way I am going to mentor 1,000 people by myself, right? So if the reason why it's encouraged that you use the pronoun or prefix, I don't know, of we, is because that gives the impression that you are able to separate your company from yourself, but also that you're not alone. And the fact that other people have bought into your vision is more attractive to the next person you're trying to sell it to.
Great.
I hope that makes sense.
Yes, it does a lot. Then how best, yes, we said we should end at noon. Let's allow, I think, about 15 minutes for questions, and then we shall call it off. How best could you write about impact in any business? Could you just have to say figures, words? How best could we put that? Yes, I don't know.
Well,
Winnie or...
In my opinion, I think you will need to use both words and figures. You can, like I was talking about traction earlier on, traction is not entirely just the financials, because they're going to want to know how much money you've invested, how much money you're making, how much is profit, how much is so on and so forth. But words count too, because like I told you in my case, part of my traction was actually my client feedback. And for me, that was, I believe, one of the things that helped me to become successful, because I then had evidence that I'm actually doing what I'm saying I'm doing, and there are people that have benefited from it. That's what I think. Hello,
Yes.
is anybody there?
I can hear you. Okay, thank you, John. Just to respond to the question, you can put your impact in so many ways. I mean, Win right there told you how you can document feedback. That is a very good way on how you can document your impact. Say, for example, in this very event, how do we document impact of this event? Just to use an example just right here. I have read, I read just a quick response from Uma Apollo. It says, one of the most helpful webinars I have attended. Thanks a lot, Winnie, Benjamin, and Tracy. That definitely tells you how impactful this might have been in delivering knowledge to Apollo. So that is one way. The other way is, of course, using numbers. We trained how many people are on this call. I think the maximum number I saw was like 35, I think. So we trained 35 individuals to apply to the Tony Romeo Foundation program, and 20 or 50% of these people applied, where 30% got the fund. It's simple, 30%, and now 30%, if 30% is like maybe 10 people, 10 people is equivalent to 50,000, no, is equal to 5,000 times 10, which is 50,000 USD. We have, what is it? It is your Opportunities Africa has empowered young entrepreneurs to get 50,000 USD in a training we did to let them know about this opportunity. That is how impactful, or how you can document your impact using numbers or using, statements in terms of feedback or testimonials. I thank you so much, John.
John, just to add to that, I think a great way, another great way to do this is to know sort of before and then after. So you need to be able to measure the situation before and the situation after. So and the thing is, if you can't measure it, don't do it, because then why are you doing it, or how will you tell that you're succeeding, right? So if you're trying to measure your impact, you need to be able to know, for example, what's the situation now? How many of the people on this call before had heard about, say, the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program, right? Or how many of the people on the call before this call had ever applied for seed funding, right? How many people before had ever gone through a session on how to write their business concepts and stuff. So once you're able to measure that, then by the end, you also sort of administer another evaluation that tells you, okay, 10 people said they had never, but now they say they are so well equipped with the knowledge in that if they went out to apply today, they would they are confident that they would get in. And then you can go to what Kenneth was saying, that at the end you're able to say, okay, then they actually did apply and 10 of them went through. So you're able to say, this is where we started, this is the level at which they were at, and this is where we are now, and this is the level we've gotten them to. Impact evaluation is an entire science. It's not a very easy thing to do, but you grow into it in the same way that your business is growing. So slowly things will change. But if your job as the entrepreneur is to invest in as much as you possibly can in understanding what impact you're trying to create and what variables or measures you're using to track it. But it's an entire science. There are professionals trained in it, and unfortunately, your job as a founder is to learn all of these things, even if you're not an expert at them. I saw a question in the chat, Derek asking, reference to mentorship. How does mentorship become a business? I always thought it was a non-profit. So what Boundless Minds is really a social enterprise. We're not an outright business, but this is how we do mentorship as a business. So the first is that we have programs that are paid for, direct payment. And I see there's someone on the call actually who was in our VAC, Senior 6 VAC program that is directly paid for, right? That's the first one. The second is that we have companies, corporate companies and stuff. You might have seen, or some of you might have seen in December, we received money from Stanbic Bank because we do mentorship work for some of their young people that come through their national schools championship. So there's that as well. So you're getting money from corporate entities to offer mentorship for entry-level staff. In future, we're also going to be able to have, because now we are also doing mentor match and putting young people in touch with the older mentors or with older professionals. So in future, we'll also be able to charge for that matching service. So it's possible for you to continue running these, providing social service at a fee, essentially, without you running as a non-profit. I hope that makes sense.
Okay, thank you so much, Benjamin. We are open to ask questions. Was it Muyivu Shafiq? Muyivu, are you on? Shafiq? Maybe Muyivu Shafiq is off. Any other question, please?
John?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think there are a few clarifications I would want to make. I didn't mention that I am a mentor of the program.
Hello, kindly.
Can you hear me?
I had some.
Okay, Shafiq, you can first come on. You can first go on.
But my network is not stable at all. So in order to avoid.
Shafiq, you can type, please.
Okay, so as Shafiq types, I would want to mention that I am a mentor of the Tony Romeo Foundation Entrepreneurship Program. So we are in charge of mentoring the entrepreneurs that come on board. And just to clarify, Willie said she did not get a mentor during her period and time. It is not that actually you did not get a mentor. The mentor's job is actually starting right about this time. At this time, after you have received your seed capital, is when the mentors are going to be given to you. Initially, the work that was available was with coaches who were grouped into, I think, Telegram kind of groups. Yeah, but I understand that was a challenge, and we definitely do apologize that you hoped to get a mentor earlier, but you did. But yeah, you are also advised to always find other mentors other than those that maybe the program would give you. Secondly is last year, they were categorizing people into early stage, then startup, then disrupt as you finish your assessment, but that is also no more. It is going to, there is feedback that was received that for some reason it was not giving a good experience to the applicants, and so that is not going to be happening anymore for this particular cohort and program. So those are just a few clarifications I want to make. And maybe lastly, we are mandated to, as alumni or alumni group, we are mandated to make as much awareness as possible. So if you have been part of this call and you are affiliated maybe to a university, you are affiliated to a community that you know would benefit from this, please feel free to reach out to me, and maybe we can organize and meet them. I don't know whether in person or on a call like this, and then we can share much more in detail on how these people can benefit. Of course, the more people can apply, the higher the benefits, the chances that possibly Uganda can also get more supported entrepreneurs as compared to maybe the other years. Otherwise, thank you so much for being patient with us. I submit to you, John. Thank you.
Thank you, Timothy. Yes, I mean, someone is saying, could you have a list, Kenneth, of last year's people who won? You share with them. Contacts we might not be able to get, but the names we have. Unless we have a question, it's actually the time we're meant to end. Unless we have a question. Yes, your Opportunities Africa is a platform that shares very many opportunities, not only the one of Tony Romeo, but we also look at grants, call for proposals, we look at scholarships, very many different opportunities. Companies put out opportunities to fund ideas, maybe agriculture, maybe tech, code, awards to photographers, media, journalists. So the Opportunities Africa is a platform that will be keep sharing these opportunities. You just go there and look out for any opportunity that could fit your category and you apply. There is no money involved at any stage. I see someone saying, is there any money involved? There is no money. You're not supposed to put money anywhere. Usually these opportunities are free of charge. No money involved. Thank you so much. Unless anyone, Benji, Winnie, anything before we end, kindly share the slides. Yes. Anything?
Well, I don't really have much to say, except to say I'm rooting for those who are considering applying this year. I have shared my contact in the chat, and I'm happy to answer questions, support, etc. if you feel like I can help you. I wish you all the best. God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, same from me. Good luck to everyone that's applying. I hope it goes well. And if it doesn't, I hope you don't stop.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much. Unless Kenneth, you want to say something on to what you had said.
Yeah, just like everyone else, I just would want to implore everyone on this call, please feel free to tell your brother, to tell your sister. The application link is tefconnect.net, www.tefconnect.net. When you visit that website, you should be able to see sign up or create an account, something like that. And by that, you have started the process. All the best. Wish you luck. Feel free to contact me or reach out to TechBuzz. You can find us on all social media platforms and our website. And then we can get into a conversation for any bit of support you may be in need of. I thank you and have a blessed weekend.
Kenneth, sorry. I'm so sorry. Just one little thing, yeah? I just thought it would be important for aspiring applicants to know there is a very helpful group on Facebook. Last year it was written on TEF 2021 training. This year it has TEF 2022 training step-by-step guide. It is helpful, but I need you to know, if you're part of that group, that you're dealing with peers and other people that could be helpful, but you're not dealing with the official TEF. It's not TEF admin. Just keep that at the back of your mind. If you need to contact TEF, in the initial stages, usually you'll be writing to TEF info at application stage. But once the application is done, I have seen people complaining that they don't get responses from TEF. Write to TEF inquiries. Along the way, the email address will change. You'll start communicating with TEF inquiries instead of info. Be mindful of that. If you want to get responses, write to TEF inquiries. They respond. I always get responses. Just needed to highlight that.
Great.
Wow, that's so nice. I wish you a blessed weekend. Thank you so much. Joel Kaguta, I see you unmuted. Do you have anything? Okay.